Hey guys! My friend came over for breakfast this morning. We were talking about what her plans were after university, and she was saying that she'd like to work for a year and then take a year off and live on that money for a year in like some cheap, European city and work on her books and things that she wants to write. My voice is a bit gone. I'm very unwell right now. Fun. It was so weird her saying that because something I've been thinking, okay, so one of the reasons this crash has really sucked, like on a deep level, I've been sick for about a month now, like really quite bad, like not really being able to get out of bed, like really struggling to function. Apart from being unpleasant, one of the reasons this really sucks is because I don't want to say that. It basically means fairly conclusively that I can't go back to university next year. I'm gonna be honest about this, even though I don't want to be. I need to start accepting this, and I'm not accepting this, and it's not good. It's putting me in a weird place. I'm just gonna go into this. I want to talk about this because it's quite interesting, and I haven't fully worked it out yet in my head, so I think talking about it will help. Me not going back to university is obviously, if I'm too sick to be there, / if being there is going to make me even sicker, then obviously I'm not going to go back. That's not a difficult choice. It's not even, actually, scratch that. It's not a choice. I have no choice. They won't just let me back in. I have to pass a medical exam to get back in. After being gone for 2 years on medical leave, I have to prove that I have recovered and that I'm a healthy person now. And obviously I'm not, so they won't let me back in, is the first problem. It was always going to be a stretch, me going back based on my health, but like, I was getting so well, like I was making so much progress between January and April that I thought that maybe if I kept going like on that trajectory, like if that improvement kept coming and coming, then I could in theory be well enough by September, although it still was a long shot. But now that I've had this crash, I'm just not going to get there in time. But I've been a little bit in denial about it. So when people ask me, I'm like, oh, maybe I'll go back. Well, hopefully I'll go back, but I think for a long time deep down I've known that that's very unlikely, but I didn't want to say it out loud. But I think I have to say it out loud now. I feel like I'm living in this weird in-between fake time. Well, my friend said this morning that she wanted to like work for a year so that she could take a year off and not work and just do creative stuff and hang out. It was so weird for me to hear that because like, okay, that's not really what's going on here. Like I'm not like having a fun gap year full of creativity. Like I'm very sick and I can barely hold up a camera. Like I'm very bad. But I think because originally I was going to take 1 year off and I thought I would be able to get well enough to go back to university in the course of 1 year. So I ended up taking 2 years and I'm still not quite there, even remotely. When I first took the year off, I was like, I'm going to be off for a year and I'm going to get well and then I'm going to go back. And people were like, cool. So it felt like a gap year. It felt like a pause in my life. It didn't feel like real time. It felt like I was like taking a break and then was going to resume my real life, if that makes sense. I don't know. I didn't feel like I had to create a life for myself within that year. And also because that year I was so sick that like my whole thing was just like trying to like get from my bed to the kitchen and back, or my bed to the bathroom and back, so I wasn't like having like existential concerns. This year I'm a bit better but still very ill, but I was able to do a little bit more. But I feel so illegitimate in my life right now. I feel like I'm not doing anything, or like I'm just not existing right, or I'm not living right, or I have no purpose. But mostly that's just me projecting what I think other people are thinking of me. What's weird is I'm doing stuff that I never used to do because I've had this illness for 7 years and I was in education for 5 of those years. In education, I mean I was in bed, but I was in education, and as a result my energy had to go towards that. So I didn't actually have much of a social life. I didn't have that much of like a romantic life. I didn't have that much of a creative life. In many ways I was a lot less living life then than I am now. So like this year I have actually done a lot. Like, okay, I know I haven't talked about this at all and I'll go into this later. I don't really want to get into this, but I wrote a whole book. I wrote a book, like a full-on novel. It's only a first draft, so it's not like readable necessarily. Like it's not like a finished shiny product, but I did write a book from beginning to end. I wrote a first draft and I'm gonna like leave it for a bit and then go back to it when that's kind of I'm over it and like I'm less in my head about it, and then try and rewrite it and make it more nice. So while I'm leaving that one, I'm writing another first draft of like another book, just because it's like entertaining. Like I don't even necessarily want to be a published author like right now, but it's fun. I enjoy it. In a lot of ways that's a really legitimate way to spend your time outside of like capitalism logic or whatever. Being a disabled person who has spent a lot of time at home and is therefore writing a lot and making stuff and working on a creative education. Like, that's so legitimate. That's like, it's a weird one, but like Frida Kahlo, Virginia Woolf kind of. Being a recluse who writes stuff isn't even that unconventional. All of the lesbian poets did it. Martin Scorsese, Joni Mitchell, Anne Enright. Like, being too sick to leave the house so you write books is really legit. I'm in a bit of my life, and it's it's stable to a certain, well-ish. I mean, there's a lot of variables that could fall through at any moment, but like, I have an income, I have a place to live, I have stuff to do, I have good people in my life, I am slowly recovering, and I feel like it would all be fine if I could just like be here. Like, if I could just be here in this moment a bit better, and if I could just be okay with the fact that this is what's going on. And if I didn't feel like I was waiting for something, or waiting for some like more legitimate life, even not education, but if it was like, even if I feel like I'm waiting to get well and everything's on hold, when in reality stuff's happening, and like, and I'm getting such a great education as well. Like, I'm reading so much more than I ever had before, and not just fiction. I'm reading so much about science, about sociology, about history. Well, not really history, some history. Okay, history is history. I'm a real fountain of useless information lately. Like, I have facts on everything at this point. I can't argue that I'm not getting an education. I can't argue that I'm not having any kind of output. I have a social life. I'm not going to get into the ladies, but like, stuff's happening. Stuff's happening. I just feel so not legitimate because I'm not able-bodied and can't function in that way. I feel like if that was just a fact, then I'd just be like, doing this thing. But like, I think it's the fact that I think I'm going to resume. I don't think I am going to resume. Not in the way, I am eventually going to no, actually, I'm going to be healthy again, but I don't know if I'm going to, when I get healthy, I'm going to resume the path that I was on last time I thought I was healthy, or last time I was functioning, or whatever, because I think too much has changed now. A lot of stuff seems really arbitrary now. Right now, if I got well tomorrow, I'd probably just move to somewhere and join the Extinction Rebellion and become a climate activist and just like give my whole life and energy and strength to that fight. Now everything else seems really trivial, but that's a whole other topic. Part of me feels like, quite frankly, what I need to do is I need to just pretend that this is it. And that sounds weird, but I just need to do a mental switch of like, I need to stop acting like I'm taking a year off. Like, I don't think I can do this again. I don't think I can spend 3 years in the in-between because it feels so weird. So I have to do like a mental shift. It's just like, this is life. I'm not even dependent on anyone, really. So I am just like a disabled adult who's doing things and living her life, but I just can't get my head around it. Like, I just feel like I'm waiting to get well and to go back to reality. And I need to just get myself out of that mindset. I don't know how to do that. Maybe the best way to do it is to like plan for things that aren't contingent on me being well. Like, all my plans are always like, when I get well I'll do this, or when I get well I'll apply for this course or live in this place or whatever. Does anyone know what I'm talking about? Is anyone following this, and can anyone give me some advice for how to feel like I'm living in the real world? Or like, oh, my phone's ringing. I think part of it is just me like just being a pain in the ass to myself and like projecting other people's opinions that they don't even have onto myself. Like, I just need to reframe this whole thing, because what I'm thinking about now is like, oh, I'm in disability allowance, so I'm too sick to do anything and I need to get off it and then work and have a legitimate life. But what I could just do is I could just pretend I'm being paid to have a legitimate life and that this is it. I know, most of it's on the dole. I'm just a fool. I'm just a fool.
The plan in Ireland is rather rigid, actually.
Yeah.
And it's got a bit of a factory experience. So everybody goes to school, everybody tries to get as much points as they can, and then everybody goes to university, right? And if you deviate from that plan, it's quite hard, because you have to have a kind of a legitimate reason for it.
Yeah, exactly.
So it's not really you, Ferg. So
yeah,
it's just a question of, the plan was you go to university, you didn't work out because you're sick, and now here it is. What are you going to do about it? You're going to be, and then the obvious thing is, well, instead of banging my head off a brick wall about this, why don't I just reframe it?
Yeah.
So I have to ask you, where does recovery fit into this, or does it?
It does. I mean, obviously number one priority is always me getting well, but it's actually like it's become 2 straight years of just trying to get well. Here's the other thing. That's too much. It's too much. If all that's going on in my life is that I'm trying to get well, then it hurts too much when I have a crash.
Yeah.
I need something else. Otherwise it's just like too earth-shattering. Like, if you know what I mean?
Yes. I think it's time for another conversation with somebody.
About what, like a professional?
Yes, I do. I mean, with one of your people.
I have a summer like Beaumont session planned, and the topic of the session is just like us working out what I'm doing with my life.
That last crash did it's just kind of like, shit, this is harder than I thought. Or,
Yeah.
This plan isn't working the way I thought it was going to work. Or
Yes.
something.
It's
Yeah.
working very slowly,
Right.
but also like I'm gonna have to play a longer game than I thought I was going to have to play.
Yes, you're going to have to play a longer game. Exactly.
Yeah, this isn't like you take a year off, you sort it out, and then you go back to where you were. It's actually like, oh, I'm gonna have to. This is gonna be
This is
ages.
going to be, yeah,
I have to get comfy here. I have to like start doing this recovery in a way that like this can be my life for a fair chunk of time. Yeah, we haven't. I don't think I've actually fully discussed the fact that like, wow, I'm still sick. That's weird.
I know.
Who has the time to like stop and think that?
I know what you mean, really. Sometimes it's just like, you just have to say, okay, well, this is it for the moment.
Yeah.
And I'm just going to be.
I think in some ways the appeal of living abroad would be like, yep, this is life. It feels like in some ways if someone was like, what's Fergie doing? Oh, she's living in whatever. Like, that's like, okay.
It's kind of a legit thing to do, isn't it? Living abroad.
Yeah, exactly.
She's going away, she's travelling.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, that's legit, isn't it?
It is. And then part of it as well is that like, in some ways as a message to my own self and body, I think I don't know, on some weird intuitive level I just feel like I need to be like, yeah, we're the waiting period is over, we're in this. But like obviously not in a way that would be exhausting, which is why I'm not gonna but like if I was like resting somewhere else, but I was like, look, I had the initiative, I organized this myself, I'm living my life, I'm an independent adult, I think just psychologically that would be it would be nice.
Yeah, I can understand that.
Because otherwise it feels too much like, I don't know, it just feels too much like intermission.
It feels too much like a negative.
Yeah, it feels too much like, oh, she's too sick to be here and therefore she's here, whereas it'd be, if I'm making more decisions for myself, or like stuff's like I'm just doing stuff, then it feels like, oh, this is just what she's doing. It's not like, oh, she's too sick to do this other thing. Does that make sense?
And you must be slightly going, are you bored? Like not short term, but long term.
I'm long-term bored. That's my problem. On a day-to-day basis, I'm fine. But I'm just like, wow, I don't have... I don't know, I don't have things that I'm like excited about. I can't make plans. It's a weird position to be in. To be 21 and to be like, I can't make a plan. Like I can't, other people are like, oh, this is what I'm going to do next year. This is what I'm going to apply for. I'm going to like...
God, it's so weird.
I know, it's so weird. And everyone's just like, oh, I'll do this internship, or I'll try to have this career or whatever. And I'm not even like even I'm in a relationship that I can't plan for. That's kind of weird. And I also can't plan for not doing anything. Like I can't even plan for doing what I'm currently doing. Because that's also in the air. Not only can I not plan to live somewhere else, I also can't plan to live here.
Who's come up with Katrina and with Sinead?
No, I actually hadn't really noticed until this month, because I was getting well, so I was kind of like, oh, I'm getting well. Like, I'm just gonna ride this wave. But then when I crashed, I was like, oh god, this is bad. This is a bad situation that I'm going to be in for quite a while. But it's not a bad situation actually right now, but it's just bad because I can't think about the future at all. Or work, or I can't place myself in life. Like if someone's like, what's happening in your life? I'm like, I have no idea.
Yes, it was a bit of a shock, all right, wasn't it?
I set the agenda exactly 0. It's not in this moment actually bad. I mean, it is bad because I'm really sick and that's unpleasant. But when I am moving, it's actually quite good. But it's just annoying because I think a lot of just being 21 is not so much about where you are, but where you're going as well. It's a mindset thing. Like everyone else is in a where am I going position, and I'm like, I'm in a good place, but I can't actually engage in this conversation that everyone's having about like what their life plans are.
I know. because you can't really develop or something. I mean, I suppose you see in a way you sort of can. It's just not the way you thought.
Yeah, exactly. I need to feel like I'm on a trajectory or something. Even if it's a vague trajectory, because I'm not suggesting that I need to be like doing a capitalist career thing, but I just need to like feel like something is happening other than me maybe getting well, maybe not. Because getting well is like a noble goal, but at the same time it's like too hard to put all my eggs into because it's just too much of an emotional roller coaster.
Having said that, you have to be careful that whatever it is that you've decided you want to do, you know, it isn't also putting pressure on you. So that's a bit of a...
Yeah, that's kind of why I crashed though, isn't it? But yeah, no, you're absolutely, like, I hadn't put my finger on it, but you're absolutely right. I'm just like, not on a day-to-day level, but like big picture board, which is a weird thing.
I don't know. I think you're kind of in a situation that really needs quite a lot of support, actually.
Yeah.
Of the kind of just practical and emotional variety.
Yeah.
It is actually a particularly difficult situation, isn't it?
Yeah, and also like my personality. I was like, if I had been your age and had an income and not had to work, I would have just been really happy. And also maybe she hasn't like critically thought about the fact that I actually have to be sick. Like it's not just that I get disability allowance, like the actual being sick is quite a lot of my time.
Yeah.
But also, like I think I just really like doing stuff. Like I just think I'm a very, yeah, I'm just a person who likes doing stuff, and so it's like, I'm extra torturing myself.
I think this is beginning to get really hard. Yeah, you know the way it kind of seemed like it was going to get easy, but actually it's actually getting harder, I think, in some ways.
Yeah, I mean it was getting easier also. I don't know, I think when you're in a crash things just seem extra bleak.
It's getting easier when it's like you can see improvements.
Yeah.
But when you realise that every time you kind of overdo it slightly, you go back a few steps, and the few steps is a few months.
Yeah.
And that's really tricky.
It is, yeah. This was a weird video. I didn't think I was going to make this video today, but I want to keep it real. I'm trying to find a way to authentically document having ME. Very difficult thing to do. But yeah, in conclusion, the topics of my crisis that I'm currently in are twofold. The first half is that I'm struggling not being like a productive member of society but still existing. That's a mostly sociological problem, and I'll just deprogram myself and that should sort that out. Yeah, like I'm just not a very useful cog in the system right now, and it's messing with my sense of self-worth. Relatable? Probably. Who hasn't had that problem though? And then the second issue in my crisis is that I am too unwell and have no control over my destiny. It feels like my health is not improving at the speed at which I would like it to, and as a result of this I feel like I have no control over my life or my future. Fun. I'll be fine. Like, I'm chill. Like, I know I just had this big crisis or whatever, but I'm actually fine. Like, I'm just a bit sleepy. I'm gonna go watch some episodes of The Good Fight and then have a nap. Like, like we're all good here. Don't worry. This was fun. Thank you for watching. Let me know if you struggle with this or if you have any advice. Goodbye.